Welcome back, everybody, to the SlotsFan podcast. On this show, we talk to slots content creators about their channels and their most fun, biggest win stories, and also their tips on how to have more fun safely at the casino. And today, we've got an awesome guest for you. It's Dustin from Cajun Slots. And before I get started with him, there's a link in the description, and I hope you can all follow it, check out his channel, give it a sub, and watch some of his videos. So, Dustin, thank you so much for taking the time. We're really excited to have you on the show today.
I'm so glad to be on the show. I've watched it tons of times, and I really love what y'all doing here. I mean, it is a fantastic little episode, so I really enjoy it, and it definitely gave me a lot of pointers from one of the episodes I watched with Gambling Granny. It definitely put me a new perspective on how she gambles and how she live streams a lot of times.
Yeah, it's so cool to hear. Like, there's so much diversity in the creators, also the kind of content, the places that they're going, the games they're playing. So, it's from my perspective been super exciting to learn more, and I'm excited to learn more from you today. So, we talked briefly before the show, and I know you're relatively new to the space. I checked your channel, and I think the first short went up January of 2024, and the first videos were even after that. So, pretty new to the space. I was curious how you got into it, and what's your background like with slots and casinos, and what led to you wanting to start your own channel.
Well, to be honest, during the COVID days, we used to go to a lot of casinos, and when COVID started actually closing casinos down, that's when we started watching Brian Christopher and other people to see what casinos were open, where they were, and which ones actually, because we wanted to go to Vegas, but we didn't know if the casinos were closed or open. Each week they changed stuff. And so finally, once they opened, we went to Brian Christopher's meet and greet, and that's what really started it all. Me and my friend Maggie, we just enjoyed it. We loved it, and Brian Christopher actually said he was no longer going to be filming at ㍍How anymore, and that just kind of opened up our doors. And we had this concocted this whole plan on the flight back that we were going to do MD slots because we both worked in the medical field, and we'd be the slot doctor. Well, eventually that didn't pan out, and well, now I'm doing solo with Cajun Slots. So
That's so cool. What's the experience been like? I know, like, playing slots is enough of a roller coaster by itself, but making content about it and all the work that goes into it is just another layer of, of volatility, I guess. So, what's your experience been like? Has there been ups and downs, or maybe you can share from your perspective how it's been?
So with the slot industry, I mean, they're in it to make money. I mean, if they wouldn't be making money, the doors wouldn't be open on casinos. And being able to see the behind the scenes, all of the numbers and the amounts of different things really changes your view on slot machines. Different casinos have different payback ratios, which is return to player and stuff like that. And certain machines, like from now, like whenever I see and people talk about how they lost a lot, and then when you start asking them what machine they played, and it's these high volatile slot machines. The high volatility slot machines, I feel like they're taking over the casino floors now, and it's really it has changed the game in the past 2 years when I started playing, and it it's a whole different feel and a different aspect. The whole slot machines and casinos have evolved a lot since I started in 2 years.
There's, like, I guess since COVID, but even more recently than that, it just seems like there's so many content creators starting out, and like we talked about before, there's so many different channels. I'm curious if any of the channels really stood out to you as ones that were inspiring or that you think were doing things right. Can you shout out any that were a factor in you getting started?
Uh, like I said, whenever I first started watching videos, I really watched Brian Christopher because I mean he's everywhere. He really is. And when I first started doing YouTube, to be honest, I actually started on TikTok, and Kashana Casino found me from a TikTok video I made, and they asked me to compete in a live stream event. And at the same time, TikTok banned live stream casinos. So I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was going to tell them I couldn't do it and everything like that. And Slotaholic, Joseph and Josh from them, they pushed me and were like, hey, you need to do a YouTube channel. You'll definitely get the subscribers. And because of them, they kind of like pushed me up, I guess, and like gave me the courage to actually strive and start my YouTube channel. And I owe them a lot of thanks because without, the whole slot community is very supportive of each other. No matter how big they are, I've gone to Vegas and seen Vegas Matt, and I mean, everybody's just normal people. They talk to you like normal people. No one's a famous person. Brian talks to you like you're normal. Uh, but there are definitely a ton of YouTube channels, and I differentiate them between people who use it as a business and people who are a hobby. And I'm more of a hobby YouTuber where this is a hobby for me. I enjoy it. I love it. I still have a job. I still work and I love my job. I love my work. But I this is just something for fun that I enjoy. And I don't see it becoming a big famous celebrity from it because this is just fun and a hobby for me.
It's a cool way to approach it and a good way to approach gambling in general. I think, probably with anything when you make it a business and you spend more time and more is at stake, maybe it makes it less fun. And so it's great that you can keep it as a fun hobby. And does that tie in at all with like the message that you send to your audience in terms of how you gamble and how you suggest that other people gamble?
I try not to suggest how people should gamble because in my mind, if you're going to the casino with say $200, $300, you should go knowing that, hey, you're not going to see that money again. You're probably going to lose it. And, it's gotta, whatever amount you set, you're not there to make a profit. You're there to have fun, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the looks, the views, the game itself, and how fun it is. And that would be one issue that I would really like to push is that, like, if you're going to the casino to make money, then please don't go. The casinos are in it to make money. Slot machines are in it to make money. They wouldn't be there if they didn't. And as me, I think that everyone who goes to a casino should actually go for fun and entertainment. It shouldn't be something to make money. Now, of course, there are advantage players who play tons of certain games to try to make money, but in the end, the casino always has the house edge.
Yeah, that aligns really well with the message that we try to put out at SlotsFan, which is like it's an entertainment cost. It's super fun and it's not a way to make money. And in fact, it's a way to spend money on entertainment because that's what'll happen. I mean, it's great that you have the potential for short-term wins and compared to lots of other activities that don't have that, it's a cool aspect and maybe why it's so exciting. I'm curious, what are your favorite things? You say it's something that you like to do for fun. I see that you travel around a little bit to different properties. I see you've got a buddy that joins you sometimes on the channel. So what's your favorite part of the whole experience and maybe what are you focusing on showing to your audience that you really enjoy?
So when I first started doing YouTube videos, I really was pushing about the bonuses as everyone is because that's what people like to watch. They want to watch big bets, they want to watch bonuses. And it was something that I did a lot because I wanted to grow the channel. I ended up 1 month I did a video every day. Later on, I sat back and I decided to do more of things that I would prefer. And if people like it, then maybe they'll jump on board. But I really like viewing the casinos that as a whole, as a resort, to see like how nice their pools are, their restaurants. I mean, some of the casinos have some of the nicest restaurants. I mean, look at Vegas. I mean, they have fantastic restaurants everywhere, and I love to eat, so it's a win-win for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love the slot machines. The slot machines are fun, but like when I'm in Vegas, I enjoy the experience because we've gone to Excalibur and we've got to eat the little miniature chickens during the little show. I don't know if you've ever done the diner show, but it is amazing. We've done the buffet at Caesar's Palace. I mean, that was expensive, but it was nice. It was worth every penny of it. But I mean, that's the things I like. I mean, some people go on vacation to Disney World. Vegas is my Disney World. So I mean, that is what I enjoy.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think I read a report that, the trend in Vegas at least is that a lot of their more and more of their revenue is coming from non-gaming stuff, right? So restaurants, shows, all the other stuff. And what comes up for me when I hear you say that is, a lot of the guests we have really emphasize how important it is to use your player's card and start earning back, take advantage of the, redemptions and comps that you can get. And how to choose those is often they would suggest smartly to choose places that you like the amenities, right? Because it's not all just free play, it's free nights, it's other dining and entertainment options. So yeah, I mean, I love the way that you're approaching it as a holistic experience. And when I think of going to the casino, honestly, like, the gaming is a part of it, but it's probably not even the majority of the experience, especially when you're going away for a weekend or something like that.
You're absolutely right. I mean, if you sat the whole weekend at your casino slot machine, I mean, you would miss out on so much stuff. So, like me and my better half, Micah, that's the one who comes into a lot of video.
Oh, okay, awesome.
We enjoy going out to places. I mean, we did we went to Oklahoma last week or 2 weeks ago, and it's the world's largest casino over there, Windstar. And while we were over there on our way back, we decided to stop and pick up emus. I mean, we really love adventure, you know? I mean, just because it's a casino, it gave us an excuse to go to the casino, but we came back with big old birds. So
That's so cool. I mean, you mentioned the Slotaholic channel before, and it's so awesome to see couples get to do stuff together when it comes to this lifestyle stuff. How special is it, and how much does it enhance your experience to be able to do some of the traveling and maybe break up some of the work, because it is a lot of work doing a channel with Micah.
yeah, it definitely it breaks up our, let's say it actually does really well for us because we both enjoy the same things. We love to travel, we love to see things, we both love to play slots. Um, Now, because we use our players cards, a lot of our hotel stays are free, and Caesars players cards actually have the best comps for us on hotel wise. So we always try to find, like when we're in Biloxi, we go to the Horseshoe so that we can keep our points on those things so that we can continue to have more points. Last year we went to Vegas and our whole room was free for a whole week. No resort fees and stuff like that. Which if we wouldn't game a lot, we would have to pay for a hotel room. We'd have to pay for, food and drinks. And the Caesars program, I really enjoy it. They give you 2 free drinks a day. They give you hotel rooms. Once you hit the diamond status, they take away your resort fees. They do offer a lot of amenities that a lot of other cards don't offer, and that I usually play at a Caesars just to keep my card up because I really like their perks.
It's cool to focus on a loyalty program that has, like, a network of properties too, because you can have a lot more options to, like, to earn points, but also to do redemptions and not go to the same place necessarily all the time.
Yeah. I do love some tribal casinos, but the only drawback to that is their card systems don't link with other cards or other properties. So unfortunately, you can't travel to other places. And like my home casino is Coshada in Kinder, Louisiana, and it's the biggest casino in Louisiana. And, they know that their card program, because they don't link up with other hotels or other places out of state. So what they did is they do a double tier program. So like when you're playing on their card, you actually get one comp is for food, gas, merchandise, the gift shop. And the other comps that they have are to put back into the slot machine as free play. So they're doing a two-tier one, which is amazing, and it makes up for them not having other hotels or casinos, so their program is amazing as well.
Yeah, I think I got introduced to that property maybe through the Slotaholics channel, but you mentioned before that they're maybe the only, but they're very receptive to streamers, and that's got to make a difference for you in terms of, like, the experience that you have there with the freedom to capture content.
It They are really probably the best casino to for streamers, anyone new, old, to gamble or to game at and stream at because we really enjoy their property. I've been to some properties where once you start live streaming or videoing, they come around you with security and they have to hold a sign and you're only allowed to go to these slot machines. You're not allowed to go to this side. You can't, it's a lot more strict and more regulated on state ran casinos. Where this one, as long as you're being respectful to all the other patrons and you're not causing a ruckus, they go out of their way to assist you. I mean, they won't stop you unless, you're doing something you shouldn't be doing to begin with. But they're very it's probably my favorite one to stream at.
Do you think that Kashada and maybe other casinos are starting to see the value in being receptive to influencers and people that are making content and mentioning where they are and showing off, like in your case, even non-slot related stuff like the actual property?
I do think that they're noticing us and that we are making an appearance in places. I know Kashada for sure has noticed us. They've made slot tournaments dedicated just for influencers. They actually did a tournament and gave T-shirts to all of the people who came out. then they also do tournaments against us, where like, us, a lot of Hall, like Jazzy J, Tim the Real Kid, tons of other slot channels as well. And we all get together and we compete to see who can get the biggest ticket, and whoever wins a huge check. I mean, they boast, they're probably in Louisiana the biggest helper to slot influencers in Louisiana for sure.
That's cool. Whenever we talk about this stuff, El Cortez in Vegas comes up a lot, and I think both those examples and maybe Yamava are examples of properties where maybe we're starting to see a correlation between this kind of activity and actual like business success and other indicators, and hopefully that'll maybe pave the way for more casinos to be receptive, because I feel like there's a big opportunity that's largely overlooked, and maybe it's kind of an old fashioned industry in some ways, I think, and maybe it's just part of the process that has the industry has to go through to really embrace influencers. But it's cool to see.
Yeah, I definitely agree. A lot of casinos, older properties, believe it's taboo and they don't want you to do it. I've been to some properties and videoed fantastic footage, had won large amounts of money, and the minute we started to walk out, security met us and made us delete everything off our phone.
Really,
Uh,
it's got to be
it was
painful.
horrible. It was a very horrible experience because we asked the security guard an hour before if we could film, and they said, "Yeah, everything's fine. Don't worry." And as soon as, we tried to leave, then it became an issue, you know?
That's too bad. Yeah, I've had that experience where you get cleared with one security guard and a new one comes on shift and they have no idea what you're talking about, and it's starting all over again with a less receptive person, perhaps.
Exactly.
Maybe there's room for like a standardized system that makes it easier for casinos to opt in to some kind of influencer program where, because I know there's a lot of like they have valid concerns and other customers have privacy concerns, and there are real things, but it seems like it's so all over the place, location to location. Maybe some standardization there will be something we see make it easier.
Yeah, I would definitely agree and wish that that would be a case across the board because, certain casinos, depending on the branch, some of them you can go to that are, say, a Caesars property, and then you go to another Caesars property, and they're like, "No, no, you can't film." So, I mean,
Hmm.
I don't know if it's a state thing or a district thing, but it's just there's a lot of misinformation about it.
I know there is like state to state different gambling commission rules that impact casinos' freedom to even let people film and what that means. So it could definitely be something there. You mentioned, unfortunately, having to delete some content of big wins that you had. I'm curious if anything jumps out at you in terms of the most memorable experiences, whether it's on camera or off camera, from your time playing slots. And this can often be big wins, but it can also be like special experiences or funny experiences or anything that our audience might find interesting.
My first hand pay was probably the craziest experience. It wasn't even that much. It was like $1,700. It was on the old Slotto machine. And I didn't even, it was sevens and multipliers and stuff. I couldn't even tell you the difference between a nickel and a dime back then on those slot machines. And I was so scared because I thought I broke the machine because it stopped. And I mean, it just the guy next to me is congratulating me, and I'm like, I don't even know what I did here. Like I was such a noob. And then whenever it came down to the paperwork and stuff, he was like, make sure you take your taxes out and do all this. I didn't even have a clue that they even did taxes on this kind of stuff. And so that was my first win, and it was very exciting. But probably our largest win was a group pull that we did last year in August. And Kashada actually had a slot start tournament where we did a whole bunch of tournaments and stuff where everyone got to do a slot tournament if they got enough points in their card, and they competed against us. Well, after we finished that whole tournament, we went to the high limit room. We pulled a whole group of people, and we actually had the YouTube video for it, and it was a slot machine, I think a quick hit slot machine, the one that doesn't cause you to have a hand pay or anything like that. If you get 3 quick hits, you get 10, or I think it was 5 spins individual that are not taxed or anything because it counts. It charges you $1 for each spin. And we won 4,000, I think it was like $4,800. And that was the most memorable experience I've ever had with a big group of our friends. people who watch our channel, and we got to win a ton of money and divide it between everybody, and it was a blast. It was a good night. One of them, it was their birthday, Miss Irma's birthday, and Miss Irma had a blast. Her daughter Rachel was there, and we had quite a few good people that were there that we enjoyed.
That's so sweet. It's always like a gamble when you are doing group pulls or anything big, like even live streams where like I hope something happens during this one. And that's so sick that that happened, especially like being able to share the prize with your audience must have been really rewarding for you.
I really, my audience is very outstanding people. We meet up at Kashada, and whenever they see me, we take pictures, we hang out together. I know most of them by name. We go play at the little bingo hall together. I mean, we just really, to me, it's almost like a family, the YouTube community. It's more than just, a subscriber. These people, they know my life. They know I got emus a couple weeks ago. They know, hey, me and Micah are going here, they're going there. They send us messages on Facebook, Instagram, and we enjoy connecting with them.
Yeah, when I got into this space, I was so blown away by the level of relationships that people are building and how tight these communities are. And maybe it's the same in other, streaming and gaming communities, but wow, did I notice it a lot in the slot space. And like you mentioned, not only are the influencers, or maybe this is because the influencers are so accessible, but among the community, the support for influencers and for each other, even if it's just like social support of having people that know who you are and you get to for people that maybe don't have that access to that in the gambling context, it seems so special. And I think such a big part of why this space is blowing up so much over the last few years.
I think so because it's such a tight knit community that is very inclusive. Everybody includes everybody. They want the best for everybody. No one's ever fighting against you or like rooting against you. They're always rooting for you because we want to see that slot machine payout. So we always are rooting for each other because we want those big wins. We want to watch them. And I get carried away when I watch other people's videos when they get the grand jackpot because I'm like, "Oh my god, like it's possible. It's not just a myth."
Yeah, it feels like the vibe in the casino in general is kind of like us against the casino, like the entire everybody who's there playing, like whatever table you're at, whatever slot bank you're at, everyone's like it's almost like a shared win when people win, and that vibe seems to really be captured, like especially on the live stream where people are literally cheering you on live and supporting you that way.
Exactly. I think it's us against them is the mentality we have, and as long as someone wins on the casino, we are excited about that.
So, what's coming up for me when we're talking about this, these communities that are growing together behind influencers, going back to the topic of casino marketing and the way that influencers can play a part in that. What would you say to other, people at other properties who aren't as receptive as Kushada, and maybe regulations aside, but from your experience, what should they know about the benefits of working with influencers, and even where do you think this could go where it's not being leveraged right now?
You know, I feel like casinos and the marketing teams are spending so much money on commercials, advertisements to show off what they have. And if they would just open the doors and let a few of us go in there, videotape the floor plan or even the hotel rooms, people want to know what they're going to go to. I'm not going to drive 2 hours to a hotel or to a casino and not know what the inside looks like. Before we go to any casino, we YouTube it, see if, hey, is this even big? Is this nice? What do the hotels look like? Or watch a review. I mean, I think if more people would think like that, they would say, "Hey, no, we want you to come and video our rooms. We want you." It's almost as if some places are hiding what they have to offer because they know it's a lot of fluff.
Mm.
And the more casinos that are open and open the doors to us to let us show off everything that they have, I mean, more people are going to want to go. I mean, some people think, oh, they're going to leave a bad review or they're going to do this. If it's clean and nice, that's what we're going to say. It's clean and nice.
Yeah, and if it's not, then they probably should make it clean and nice if they want to have any repeat customers to begin with.
Correct.
Well, it's interesting. I think like as consumers, we can all relate to how persuasive like real people reviews is. You can go to like the website for a hotel and look at the fancy photos and look at the room photos, but it's a lot different when and a different level of trust, I think, compared to when you see someone like walking through it in, some recent time that reflects how it's actually going to be. And I guess in a larger sense, it kind of goes for slots and gaming as well. It's so much more persuasive to see someone playing a game than to see a picture of it or to read about it or anything like that.
Exactly. I really think a lot of people like the visual aspects of it. And reading a hotel has a 4 review that doesn't scream, hey, it's nice, it's clean, or what kind of tub it has, what kind of shower. And versus you see a video of the hotel and you're like, wow, those rooms are really big. They're really nice. It makes you
Mhm.
like Kashana, for instance, has like 5 properties you can stay at, and each one has its own different little thing. So next week's video, actually this Friday's video, is going to be all of the different hotels, and we did a tour of every hotel.
Well, that's cool.
So like that we want to be more informative and not just a slot channel. We would love to do more hotel rooms and casino floors and show stuff like that because that's what I really enjoy.
And if the hotels upgrade you to a suite, you can make it look even better.
Exactly, correct.
Um, Another thing that we often talk to influencers about, we chatted about casino marketing a bit, but games, like the actual games themselves, people's reactions to them, the playability of them, the features, all this kind of stuff that game developers are so interested in. Influencers have a lot of insight into, and we're seeing influencers being kind of tapped by these game developers to provide that kind of real expert feedback. I'm curious, in your opinion, and it's different for lots of people what they like. But for you, what are the games that stand out as being fun to play? Maybe even ones that are doing well on YouTube. And what are some of the features and styles that speak to you and would get a game on your list of great games people should check out?
I think my number one ultimate favorite game is Dancing Drums. Dancing Drums, it really has it all. It has good spins, it has great line hits, it has a great bonus. It gives you the options and the choices of how many free spins you want when you do finally hit the free spins. It has the little pot that closes. That game right there is fantastic, amazing, and I mean it gets all the ticks for me. I really like that game. Uh, some Lightning Link and some Dragon Cash. I feel like those original games were really good, and there's so many spin-offs. Once a game is really good, they just keep making more and more spin-offs of it. And sometimes the original is just the best. You can't beat the original, and that's how I feel with Dancing Drums. No matter what they ever make, the original Dancing Drums is, I mean, it's a hit. It's my favorite game. So
That's awesome. I also like that game. It's kind of like movies, I guess. It's hard to make the sequels better than the original sometimes.
you're right. I mean, another good one is the Mystery of the Lamps. That is a brand new game,
Sure.
and that one had a different bonus, and I mean, it really that was unique and one that always stays with me that I always try to play because it's more than just a lock and link. It's more than just, line hits and stuff like that. I like a good free game that actually it lasts a long time and you get enjoyment out of it. I'm there for the enjoyment, not there just to try to win.
Yeah, it kind of strikes me that, and I'm curious if the demographic for audiences for retail slots on YouTube skews a little older than online stuff for sure. You're a bit younger, perhaps, than some of the other people in the space. Is that reflected at all in your audience, or what's your audience demographic like?
Well, actually, my audience demographics are all over 40, and
Yeah.
majority male and in America. And because we were looking at it the other day, and like I have a lot of 65-year-old, 70-year-old audience members, and um, I guess I just was an old soul.
Well, I'm curious. For the most part, YouTube, like we've talked about, is land based, but we're seeing a lot of online stuff coming into the space, and there's a bit of a transition, with sweepstakes, with online casinos. Do you see that reflected at all in your audience? I know in Louisiana, I think they've pulled down some of the sweepstakes operators over the last while, and I think like the Louisiana governor's taking a bit of a aggressive approach to sweepstakes. But among your audience, is this a topic of conversation? And maybe is even like free? I know free to play apps are really popular. among people who don't necessarily play sweepstakes. But what's your audience into?
I had this same discussion with a few of my channel members, and we do the little bingo every now and then, and we were discussing it, and it's a mixed feeling for me. Some people are scared of it, and they think it's too accessible, and that it could become an issue for certain people that might gamble a little too much or might not know when to stop. And having that easy access to them, they really frowned upon it and thought it was, something a negative towards it. Uh, I have played the sweepstakes coins before it became illegal in Louisiana, and I've won, cashed out, had, no issues with it and stuff. But I can see where it could become something that would be habit forming because it's so easy. It's right there. You don't even have to drive. You stay in your pajamas. Uh, but I really, I don't have anything negative or positive to say about it because I could see either side. So I guess I'd be kind of neutral on all of these. I do think it's kind of messed up that the state has already stopped it and banned all these sweep coins in Louisiana. So a lot of people and players that were playing that all the time responsibly, now they're having to go out, or maybe people who couldn't go out were playing it. But I do love
Yeah.
some free app games on the App Store.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some cool ones where you can, play for free and earn points for like your loyalty program at land-based casinos, which is a really cool idea. What made me think of it was when you talked about games that you like that have entertaining bonus rounds and other stuff. Online, we're seeing cool innovations in like the gamification of slots, and I think for a younger audience, it's sometimes hard for me to get my head around how like younger people are going to be drawn into slots when there's just so much entertaining game options out there. And I think like it's really cool to see some crossover where there's a bit more interactivity and a bit more entertainment. Like we talked about, we're going for entertainment. It's awesome to play games where even when you're not winning, you're still having a good time and you're getting a lot of play and all that stuff. And online is one of the areas that I'm seeing a lot of innovation when it comes to games. And I'm curious how people, mainly land-based people, are reacting to the games. And I think it's maybe just a process of people becoming exposed to it and, getting more familiar with online options. And I think you bring up a good point with, online comes with its own risks when it comes to playing responsibly.
Yeah, I think online, I don't think they'll be able to regulate it as well, also, because you don't know who's going to be playing it, stuff like that, which could become an issue. But you're talking about the bonuses and stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with the blueberry cabinets, the Bluebird one.
Sure. Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
games had fantastic pick bonuses where like you picked a bonus and then you got something different. And it felt like slots all of a sudden have lost that. Back in the day we had these bonuses where you felt like you were in control. You picked the little fisherman or you picked this item. And nowadays I find like the pick bonuses are not the same. And it's a whole different world, it seems like, from the olden slots to the new slots.
On the topic of responsible gambling, slots influencers are we talked about how persuasive influencer marketing and first person content and reviews are. When you're doing this kind of content, how do you approach the responsible gambling side of stuff? I know you mentioned the messaging, it being entertaining. Is this a factor for you when you think that you might actually be influencing the way people think about gambling or their gambling behavior?
I try not to influence their gaming behavior, because I try to educate them, show them the machine, show them how nice the machine is, show them, the lines and stuff like that. But I'll never tell someone how much to bet. I think everyone should set a nice limit or go to the casino with their budget. And I myself budget a certain amount every week to go to the casino to shoot the videos or play. And if I win, I get to take it home, keep it, and maybe next week I'll have a bigger budget for my next video. But I think some gaming can get out of hand, and I think everyone should have a budget and should game responsible and realize this is just for fun. It's not there to make money.
You mentioned how not only on your channel, but in, your lifestyle of liking to check out pools and restaurants and all this stuff. Do you have any picks or recommendations? You mentioned some places in Vegas. Are there any places where you go back and it's like, I got to go to this place again that our audience should check out when they're in town, whether it's in Vegas or in your home area?
I definitely Kashana has a great steakhouse restaurant. Unfortunately, they closed it for remodeling and it won't open for a couple more months, but they had the most fantastic ribeye, and they even would grill a whole clove of garlic and put it on the side of the plate. It was plated amazing. It was always cooked great. I always like to try the steakhouse. You know, you can never go wrong with a good steak at every casino. Uh, Now, I have heard rumors that Circus Circus has a great steak. I'm just really leery of going to Circus Circus for a steak dinner. It just kind of something about it kind of scares me.
Have you ever been to Slots of Fun besides Circus
Oh
Circus?
my god. The first time I walked into that abandoned building, I was like, "Oh my god." We our last trip we went, I actually won probably like $200 in coins on the quarters. I had to wait for them to go get a bag from the main circus to come put it in there, and I never had to actually took home money from those coins. You have to rack them yourself. It is a lot of work. I don't know how those old people did it back then, but thank God we got those tickets now.
Yeah, it's a colorful place. It's pretty fun though to check out.
It definitely is worth checking it out at least once.
When I was checking out your YouTube channel, like we talked about, you haven't been at it for too long, and the growth on your channel has been really awesome to see, both in subscribers but also in views and engagements and all this stuff. I noticed one short that had almost 3 million views. It looked like it was an early video of you spinning the big wheel, maybe at Kashada.
It was actually
And
1 year ago, last week.
okay, yeah, that video blew up. I'm curious, in your experience, what have been some of the things that have worked for you in terms of YouTube growth and engagement? And do you have any tips for people who are thinking about starting or maybe at an early stage in a slots channel on YouTube?
The only tips I can give is go at it, go full force, make sure you video everything. Because if you're not putting that camera out there and video and everything, you're gonna miss all of your wins because somehow you always get a hand pay when the camera is never watching. But no, I think, having a good relationship with the casinos, telling the staff, hey, can I video here is the first step. And if a casino security guard says, yeah, y'all can video, then you can start making that content. And for any new YouTuber, I've gone down so many paths. I've watched so many videos of it. Some people say make thousands of videos and then you're gonna blow up. I have no idea how it works. You just keep on doing you, and as long as you're okay with the videos and you're happy and you're enjoying it, keep on doing it. Who cares if you make money from it or anything else? Because this for me, it's just entertainment, and it's a hobby.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many channels out there. Like, you just have to look at the amount that they're betting and the amount of content that they're making, and you can sort of wrap your head around how expensive it must be for some of these channels, and it's hard to see all the time how it could be profitable, or at least it doesn't seem like an easy way to make a business out of a slots YouTube channel, unless you're just massively
I
popular.
really don't understand how people are making profits off of it, unless they I mean, I really just don't understand how much profit margin to be betting those kind of slot bets. You have to be a dedicated, really good at numbers, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of.
I've heard some people describe slots YouTube channels as like another loyalty program where they just get some of their money back from another source, the same way you do with the player's card.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. I watched one video of someone, and theoretically, slots have a return to player of like anywhere between 90 and 98. And they were saying, if you only play $10,000, you should at least come back home with 9,000. I was like, that's still $1,000 loss, no matter how you look at it. A loss is a loss, and that, for me, I budget, I gamble responsibly, and I try to, make sure I have enough for every week. I just couldn't see. I don't think I'll ever be one of those big gamblers.
I mean, a lot of people I've met were sort of they were doing it. It was something that they were passionate about before they had a channel when it comes to really high stakes players. And maybe for that reason, it was even more appealing for them to start a channel because they know it's exciting and it's hard. Not everyone can do that, but some people are independently wealthy, and they're just like high rollers to begin with. So why not turn a camera on?
Correct. I mean, I agree, and more props to them. I just don't have that kind of bankroll.
Yeah. I mean, Also the volatility of it, like, you can run 10,000 through a machine, and even with a 95% RTP, there's no guarantee of what you're gonna walk out with, it's not always gonna be 9,500, that's for sure.
Correct. You are absolutely right. Volatility and return to player are based on so much of a wide variety. And, you know, I try to explain it to people in an easy concept. If it's a low volatility machine, you look at it as getting back $95 off of $100. And if it's a high volatility machine, you're looking at on $1 million range. So yeah, eventually when it hits $1 million in there, then it'll actually pay out that $950,000. But until then, I'm going to try to stay towards the mediums and lows because some of those games are just really, I feel like they're a lot tougher than they used to be. And back in the day, if you got a bonus, that was fantastic. You were gonna win huge, you were gonna win a hand pay. Nowadays, slot machines are not made like that. You can get so many bad bonuses. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it seems like the trend is definitely towards higher volatility and, selling the idea of huge potential win, but it definitely comes at the expense of like short-term losses. And it's, like I said, I came from sort of online background a bit, and online the volatility is just absolutely insane. Like the max wins they're putting on games. And even as someone that's like relatively familiar with how things work, it's still not super clear to me how RTP and volatility and bonuses and jackpots and like what is your small sample size RTP really look like on a game like this that's, giving you a chance at a 20,000x max win or something. It would be great to learn and get a bit more clarity for people on stuff like that because like experientially the short term sessions can be brutal on games like this.
You're right. I'd love to know like how many spins did it take to determine that volatility? Are we talking about 100 spins or are we talking about 2 million spins? Because that's a large difference of, on us as players of, hey, will we be in that 100th spin or will we be in that 2 billionth spin to get that volatility number? Because some days you can play a slot machine, you throw $100 in there, and I mean it'll be nothing for every single spin. And it just, it's really defeating and it's not as fun when you get those kind of days.
Yeah, and it seems like at least sometimes it's like a lack of understanding that can lead people to have a bad experience because they don't really understand the kind of game that they're playing, and maybe it doesn't line up with their style or like what they want to see. Like on the older machines, you could put in $100 and play $10 bets and like not get absolutely wrecked in 10 spins every time. Whereas nowadays, like forget about that on so many of these machines. Like it's never going to work.
You're absolutely right. And, I think a lot of players need to be educated on it. You take those old sizzling sevens, if you only bet one credit, you literally only get the line pays for bars. The sevens are out the window, and people don't realize betting the max bet on all slot machines is not great, but certain machines you have to play the max bet or you're missing out on a lot of potential.
Yeah, it's interesting with influencers and streamers because there hasn't really been a place. There's like websites and message boards and stuff where you can get information like this, but it seems like content creators are just such um, like a great medium for people to be able to learn more about the games and how to gamble smart, how to the whole range of stuff that people would benefit from learning more about. And before influence, it didn't really seem like there was a place where you could go and try to expect to get that kind of information.
You're absolutely right. Before slot influencers, everything was taboo and never talked about. It was like some mysterious magical creature, the slot machine, and we're not supposed to know anything about it.
Do you watch Cowboy Slots channel?
I do enjoy his concept and that he was a slot tech and he explained stuff. And if it wouldn't be for him, I would never have started playing double diamonds. I'm just saying. He always says double diamond, the original double diamond is the best payback, and he's right. I play it and I always end up having fun on it.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that kind of experience. I often play Pai like is my favorite table game because it's just so low variance and so slow that you get to actually hang out and not spend a bunch of money. And those older three real machines seem to offer the same kind of playing experience, especially compared to more modern machines.
You're absolutely right. The more modern and fancy the machine are, I mean, I feel like the shorter your time is on it. And if it has a special character of a famous person, it's even shorter. Like, I love the Whitney Houston one, but, one day we were talking about it, and they were telling me the slot payout on it, how the casino gets their hand on it, the manufacturers have their hand on it, Whitney Houston's family has her hands on it. So there is so much money being divided by so many people. I was like, that's got to mean that us aren't going to get too much money out of it. I mean, if you got to pay out all these kind of people, it definitely it's going to be a little tighter than these other slot machines. And those three reels are paid for. They're going to put out eventually.
I think you're right. I've heard other people say that in particular with like licensed, whether it's a brand or like someone's likeness usually comes at the expense of the RTP because they're not really taking that out of their own bottom line most of the time.
You're absolutely
Just also these cabinets these days are crazy. Like the cost of building and maintaining the cabinets now, they're enormous and so high tech,
right.
which is cool.
All
But
those
it's got to,
LCD screens and like
yeah.
you looked at was it Dragon Train when it came out? It was more than just a slot machine. It was a whole setup of LCD screens around it, and I mean it was just so much. I mean, and they have to pay for the slot machine, all of that stuff, and then try to make a profit on that as well. That's a lot of overhead for these slot machines that are coming out.
Our audience is always interested in slot tips, whether it's to have more fun. We're not really giving strategy about how to win it more at slots, but there's lots of different ways to play slots. And I think it's like there's lots of valid tips. And I'm curious, Dustin, if you have any tips that you could
One
share with
tip
our
I do
audience.
have that I use all the time is I use the max bet on my first spin, and I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna win the bonus or something like that, it's always on the first spin. I get first spin wins more than anything else, and I think that would be my tip: is go a little big on your first spin, then after that, knock it back down to the smaller denominations or the smaller wins, and continue playing like that because I feel like first spin wins are a real thing.
Just make sure to turn down the denom
Definitely turn
after your
down and
first
go all the way
spin a
back down
couple
to
of
the
spins.
bottom.
Right on. Any other tips come to mind to help people have more fun more safely
Uh,
in the casino?
I think that, as long as you're having fun, that's the number one tip that I can give is make sure you have fun when you're at the casino,
Talking about slot machines always makes me want to go play slot machines. So
right?
I
As soon as
think
we're
we're
done
doing
with
something
this, I'm
right.
going. Just saying.
um, I'm curious what you've got coming up, where, whether it's planned stuff or just in general, like where you're hoping to take the channel and what opportunities or experiences it might open up for you and Micah and your audience. What do you have anything cool coming up that you're looking forward to?
So we want to do more traveling, and because of the more traveling, we have decided that we're going to try to do more video tours of casinos. Our last couple videos, instead of just doing slot machines with us and a slot machine and waiting for a win, we decided to do more of a blog style where we go and we shoot a lot of footage and then talk about it and like that. We did that one on WinStar, and then we're doing one on Kashada's hotels that we stayed at every single hotel to check those out. But we want to do more stuff like that and showcase the good parts of the casino. We want to showcase, do they have a pool? Do the rooms look nice? Do they smell good? What kind of restaurants they have? What kind of food they have? The more things that are not just limited to slot machines. I mean, is this a family place or is this not really a good place? Are the machines broken? Are they working? Some places you go to, half the slot machines are broken. I mean, it's just not. We want. We'd love to do more reviews on casino properties.
That sounds like so much fun just to be able to go and do it. And it feels like that maybe even like more obvious to casinos about the value that you might be providing because you're showing off stuff that, might be a bit more clear for them. So that sounds like so much fun. Are there any properties or parts of the country that you're most interested in trying to check out?
We actually would like. So 2 years ago, I hit up every casino in Louisiana, and so I'd actually like to do it again, but this time videoing it and seeing every single casino and show off what each one has. I mean, Shreveport, Louisiana has five or six all up north, and Lake Charles has three. New Orleans has three or four around that area. So, I mean, there's plenty of casinos all around for us to hit up that. And then once we finish that, then we'll start going to Mississippi and trying to do the Biloxi ones.
That's so fun. Do you guys like road trip around when you're doing those kind of tours?
We love road tripping. It is fantastic. We split up the driving and we really just we enjoy each other's company when we're going there. So
That's awesome. Well, some of the people that I've interviewed and heard similar stories, like couples that are doing it together, are in retirement or reaching retirement. It sounds like you guys have many years to look forward to and beyond to do this. It's so cool how it lines up with stuff that's just so much fun to do.
you're right. I mean, it really is a fun hobby. And, people say, oh, you're going to the casino. It doesn't have to involve gambling. I mean, you can always go to the lazy rivers, the pools. They always have concerts. There's more to a casino than just slot machines or tables. I mean, that's just one venue. And people forget that, hey, there's other things there as well.
That's really cool. Well, I'm excited to follow along on your channel with you with your travels, and I would love to have you back on the show to catch up in the future and see how things are going. But I wish you the best of luck with the channel and with your experiences, because it sounds like you found a really cool way. And we didn't mention it, but you told me before the show that you're a paramedic. I know that must be a very challenging and stressful job, and sounds like you found a great way to, let off some steam with your partner, and not only that, but also bring it to a growing audience of people. So congrats on what you've done so far, and we're really excited to follow along as it continues to develop.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait till next time so we can do it again. And maybe you can share me some more tips that other people gave you.
You'll have to go back and watch more of the videos, and you can give me some tips about what I should be asking people to get the most out of these
I
interviews.
really enjoyed the last interview you had. I mean, it was fantastic, and I ain't gonna lie, I got plenty of tips from everyone you've been interviewing so far, and I've been writing them down in my little book.
Amazing. Well, we're so excited to talk to you and to also continue bringing this kind of clarity and information to a space where maybe there hasn't always been so much clarity in the past.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay, Dustin. Have a great day. Thanks,
You
man.
too. Bye bye.